Hello boxing fans, and welcome to another EBN prediction. Today I'm talking Shinsuke Yamanaka versus Vic Darchinyan. This fight has everything it needs to be a good fight. It's taking place in Tokyo, Japan for the WBC bantamweight title. Yamanaka has won 15 of his fights, 11 by KO and drawn 2, lost 0. In his height he is 5'7.5" and he's got a 68.5" reach. Vic Darchinyan has won 37 fights, 27 by KO, he's lost 4, only 1 by knockout, and drawn 1, for a total of 42 fights. Also, he has lost his last fight. Vic does stand at 5'5.5" and has a reach of 64.5". So both height and reach goes with Yamanaka. Let's see, before I get into this, I think both fighters deserve respect in this bout. Mostly because, number one, this is Yamanaka's first defense. Usually, if you look at the average American or British champion, they defend the title 1 or 2, sometimes maybe even 3 times, against complete bums who are no better than domestic level, just to get a bit of money in their pocket, instead of going out there and proving that they're number 1 in division. Like right now, really. And 2, Vic Darchinyan deserves respect as well, because he's jumping on a plane, going into the Lion's Den, just to take the WBC title, in a fight that is, in my opinion, against him. Right, stylistically, when you look at Vic Darchinyan, he is the Raging Bull by name and nature. He does come forward, he tries to bully his opponents and land big painful shots. He can gas towards the end of the fight, which is usually the time that his opponents try and rally and take it on point. However, sometimes that doesn't work, especially if Vic Darchinyan puts them down enough times. Even if it goes to points, it's hard to win a points decision when you've got enough 10-8s against you. All the high profile losses that Vic Darchinyan has suffered have been due to his stamina related issues, including the Agbeko fight, the Moreno fight, and maybe the Mares fight too, just to name a few high profile losses. Like I said, he's only been knocked out once, and that was by a very smart puncher by the name of Nonito Donaire. But let's be honest, that was in a different weight class and the opponent was of a different class. Advantages for Vic: he's got good effective aggression. He needs to start very fast in this fight, as Yamanaka likes to start slower and build up a higher tempo towards the end of the fight. He has the experience in his corner. He's been at the top level, he's been there, seen it, done it. Yamanaka's not been there yet, and even though Yamanaka could be the biggest thing to come out of Japan forever, you know, he's at 17 fights, you've only seen a fraction of the styles that are out there. While when you look at Darchinyan with his 40 fights plus, and the amount of different people he's fought, stylistically, you can say that he's been there, seen it, done it, and he'll know what to do in different types of situations that Yamanaka will not. Moving on to Yamanaka right now, and you know, he is a very technical boxer. He can fight if the situation calls for it. He does have power at this level that he's been fighting at, and this is really a step up for him. He's a good counter puncher and he's got a strong left hand. That will give Darchinyan a few problems in this fight. He does start slow, but he finishes very fast going into the 12th round. That's going to be another problem for Vic Darchinyan, unless Vic Darchinyan fights very fast, very early, and then we could see how Yamanaka has to deal with a fast pace the whole way through the fight, if Darchinyan can keep it up. What about his advantages? He can last a 12-round distance, unlike his aging opponent who does fade in the later rounds. That will be a big talking point in my opinion. He's a late tempo forcer. He's got good stamina, and if you look at his record, he's not done as well in the fights where it's only been a 4 or 5 or 6 rounders, because stamina should not be an issue for those boxers at that level. Once he's got into the 12 rounders and people start gassing out, he doesn't, and then he boxes very efficiently and effectively, and he finds a stoppage in the end, because he puts his opponents in a place they don't want to be, fighting at a tempo they cannot sustain. And at some point in life, you know, everyone has to match someone else at something who are better than them at it. You know, I go back to my school days. I'll just tell you a quick story. You know, my friend was on the orienteering team, which, if you do not know, is like cross country with added map reading in it, just for good measure. And you know, I was always better at the sprinting and the short bursts of power, whereas he was better at long distance. So my teacher matched me and my mate together. He was going, "You two go run together, and I was like, oh yeah, I can deal with this speed, you know, the speed won't be an issue. Which was true, the speed was not an issue, but the distance was the issue. I couldn't cope with how long I had to use my speed for. I got halfway around the course, let's say. I got halfway around the course and I was totally blowing like a bitch, you know. Something, I was saying stuff like, can we walk for a few minutes, please? You know, and by 3/4 of the way through, I was like, right, I can't run anymore. You'll have to run on, because my chest was almost exploding, legs felt like jelly. You know, I wasn't unfit, you know, I just couldn't keep up that intense pace. So, when I got to the finish line anyway, you know, my best mate was not pleased. You know, he never did orienteering with me again after that. And that's how I expect Vic Darchinyan to feel later on in these rounds against Yamanaka, if Yamanaka puts on a very high pace. Yeah, so anyway, what other ones do they have? He's a very superior boxer, counter-puncher. He's tailor-made to beat an opponent who will have to take chances to get results, such as Vic Darchinyan. So adding all that up, what am I going to go with? Well, I think I'm going to go with Yamanaka victory, probably via TKO. If Vic is having problems with his stamina, which he is late on in the fight due to his age, a guy like this who's going to force a huge tempo is going to be a big problem for him, and I expect Yamanaka's pace and counter-punching ability to be a disaster for Vic Darchinyan. And I think this is probably his last chance saloon. He's got to go out there and take this fight, and I don't think he's going to be able to really. If he does, you know, props to him, worse things have happened. So tell me what you think about this fight, tell me who you think's going to win. It's happening tonight, I think. And like the Facebook and Twitter page that I've put in the description.